look at the way we are going about in this course, you will see that we are moving ahead in a particular organized manner. The discussions till now have focused mainly on what is the relevance of information systems in today's context. How can we understand the complex nature of the system? What is the framework in which we can contextualize our discussions on information system, and so on and so forth. Well, now the time has come for us to discuss the core issue in this topic, the fundamental issue on how information systems can be beneficial for modern day business. This chapter, that is chapter number 4, Rainer, Terman and Potter, is in the to discuss the problems of modern day business and to see how information systems can actually help these organizations. Terman, Rainer and Potter has given us a very good framework. I will not deviate much from the framework that they have given because it's very fundamental and very useful to study that framework. None of us, I think, can miss the fact that the way business is done in modern times is very different from how it was done before, say, some 5, 6, 8 years. There is a dramatic change. In fact, in the textbook they have given some examples. I hope you don't read them, because the first opening case says how to register for the courses. It says modern day schools and universities register online for courses. You can sit at home, register. But in our parents' generation, students had to go from teacher to register. It's a great irony that they take up such a case in such a way, because today in modern India we are doing registration the same way. So students may question. Oh, well, let's, for discussion's sake, assume that everything has been digitized to such a way, to such a level, that there seems to be some fundamental change in the way we do business. Personally, I don't feel the word change denotes whatever we want to say. Change for me appears to be a very static word, it's not dynamic word. I feel the much better word is turbulence. That for me is much more dynamic. Change does not capture that idea very clearly. There's turbulence. Turbulence, I use the word mainly because we don't know what is happening actually. We fail to understand what is happening around us. Everything seems to change. How to understand this complex phenomenon? Very difficult. Many authors have tried to give us an idea of what is happening. In fact, I very much subscribe to the views of Benkler, who wrote an excellent book called Network Economy. If you have a chance, read it. The Network Economy by Benkler. One of the excellent books which captures the idea of how business is changing around. The framework developed by Rainer, Terman and Potter is this. Yes, there is a change. How can we understand that change? That change they have classified under 3 categories. They understand the whole issues like this. that every organization today has to face certain pressures. Pressures as a result of the change occurring in the society. Different varieties of pressure. The organization, if it has to survive in the modern world, has to respond to those pressures in a unique way. What the argument of Rayner, Potter and Terwilliger is that information systems, or in general IT, can provide the organizations with the tool to bear that pressure. That is the overall argument. So the argument is this, that there is pressures, the business has to respond to that pressures in order to survive, and IT will help the business organization to handle that pressure. That is the overall scenario. We will build that argument step by step. First is, what are the pressures modern organizations face? Again, according to Rayner, Terwilliger and Potter, the pressures are of three kinds. They call them as one category of pressures, they classify it under market pressures. We will discuss what are the The second category of pressures are due to technology. Changes in market conditions, changes in technology. Societal pressures. Though each one can have their own way of looking at things, by and large, I think these three categories cover most of the things you want to say. Let us first look at the market pressures which modern business have to face. Well, I have read the text more number of times, I remember every statement. The market pressures generally, we understood like this. Understand the way business was done before some 10 years. Every business should have a target market, meaning they want to know whom do we cater to. That market idea is more about the geographical boundary. For example, your neighborhood store. The market of the neighborhood store is your neighborhood. He does not expect that somebody from a place far away comes to his shop and does the business. No, he does not expect that. He has a limited idea of what a market is. Likewise, companies which operate within a country have a particular mindset on how they should operate. Right? The geographical idea. What modern day technological innovation has done is, the first implication is what I may say as making the boundaries of the market invisible. Today there is no traditional boundary for the market, boundary for a business. It need not feel limited. We have seen some classic examples, as simple as a pan bida wala from Ahmedabad setting up a website and distributing his pan bidas all across the globe. Which earlier he may not even think about doing such a thing, but now it is possible because of technology. What we are saying is technology has removed the barriers. What kind of barrier? Geographical barrier and time barrier. Both has been broken. Earlier a shop had to work from say 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock. There was a time in which the business was done. Now, the business can operate 24 into 7, 365 days because of technology. So technology has broken both the barriers, the time barrier and the place barrier. Right? So market is changing. So there is definite pressure on the business to either adopt their business policies to adjust to this market or go out of business. Right? So making the boundaries invisible is one of the pressures which the modern business has to face. The second problem increased awareness among customers. Today's customer is not a dumb, unintelligent customer. He is very much informed. He knows his choices very well. He does not come to your shop and ask you to make decision on his behalf. He is very particular on what he wants. So, one of the challenges which modern business have to face is they have to be prepared to answer some of the complex questions posed by informed customer. Informed customer in some sense is an asset to any business. But this was not the case before. Why has this happened? This happened because there is a huge technology change. And because there is so much information available to customer, he will definitely do a background study. Today we don't simply go and buy a mobile phone. We are either ask our friends, search over internet for the features and other things, compare the prices, and then go and make the conscious decision to buy, which earlier was not the case. So, informed customer and the ways to deal with him is one of the present challenges for modern day business. Of course, under the market pressures, I can list out many more. I will speak more on this when I discuss the Porter's formulation of the same problem. But I think more or less we have covered whatever he wants to say. More interesting are technology changes and how they are influencing the business. Well, I want to ask you a primary question. Let us say there are two entities, business and technology. My question for you is this. Should the business change the way it works because there is a change in technology? Or should the business adopt the technology to suit its requirement? The classic question I am posing is this. Who should follow who? Whether business should follow technology or whether technology should follow business. That is, here is a change in the way business is happening and technology should respond. Is that what you are suggesting? This is one of the classic questions. Should the business respond to technology or should technology respond to business? Ideally, both will respond to each other. But in 90% of the terms, most of the cases, it is technology which will force the business to change. Technology forces business to change the way they think on how they are doing the business. Take banks. Earlier, banks used to think themselves as one of the basic function of banks. Very early idea of banking system was that bank was this big storehouse of money. You go and use bank as a storekeeper and then various instruments came. See what happened after technology came into the banking. What do banks think themselves today? Banks think themselves more as brokers between you and the people whom you want to pay. So their role as storekeepers has changed from being a storekeeper of your resources to being a mediators. This has been influenced by technology. If you see every area in the business studies, there is a whole new area called as business process re-engineering, BPR. So one of the primary influence of technology is that it has enforced BPR, business process re-engineering. Understand the meaning of the words. The way you are doing the business, the process of doing the business has now been re-engineered. Because there is a change in technology. What you were doing earlier now has been changed because there is a technology. Case number 2.1 in your textbook speaks about it. It speaks about how the most profitable business of real estate has changed thanks to technology. It is very interesting case today, very much related to scenario, and if I ask you a question, what are the three primary fields which has been hugely influenced by IT? Can you name three areas which have been fundamentally transformed thanks to IT? Banking is very specifically. See, in India, computerization of banks has helped a lot in the back end. Back end in the sense the intra-bank processing. For example, if you give a check of some other bank to your bank, the processing will happen fast. That is because back end channels are working fast. For example, the changing of many banks and interoperability of ATMs and all this is back end process. On the customer front, the kind of changes are very minimal. We are not depending on the plastic cards through most of our transactions till today. At the most, we may go to ATM and get the cash and still engage in cash transaction. So the extent of influence of IT on Indian banking is at the back end level and mostly at a cosmetic level, not the fundamental change. Communication, yes. More specifically, let's talk about IT. Forget communication for IT. Part of finance. Yeah, I accept that, but I want more diversified. I want you to think in a more diversified manner. Retail is very minimal. In fact, that's one area which we have not still explored properly. That is because of various reasons. Retail is retail as in big stores and things like that. Big stores. Our use of IT is very minimal.
Interconnectivity among diverse people, different people in all sales.
No, let us focus on fields. Like banking, yes, that's the area. Like that area which have been transformed by IT. It was not like this earlier, now it has changed like anything.
Railways.
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 Teachers. Education. We want to see that, but I don't know who has done that. And definitely I don't think anybody thinks that having a PPT in the class is IT at all. I don't think anybody has that kind of an idea.
Railways. Railways.
Yeah, railways is the case. Excellent. And we need more diversified area. More visible. Or let me pose this question in some other way. If today, as a trained IT professional in 1 year, you want to get into your own business, IT business, which area will you focus on? That's other way of putting it. You see that there is a market. Yeah, definitely yes. Film industry has been changed a lot due to IT, yes. Not Indian specifically, but yeah, I am still shopping. Yeah, yes, but very minimal. Yes. Weather gas. Name is possible. GPS, GPS, and all that is possible. Complete takeaway of the forecast. Very minimal level. Yeah. Okay. Which touches common man in a day-to-day manner. Post office has been transformed by IT. How? No, it has already happened. If you think of that field today, you think IT. Other area. Entertainment is a very complex word. I don't want to get to. Somewhat closer. You are getting somewhat very closer. powerful, instantly recognizes these fields have changed beyond recognition thanks to IT. 99acres.com, Naukri.com, Shadi.com. Three areas where IT has brought fundamental difference in the way we are thinking about that area are real estate, job market and matrimony scene. So much which has happened before 5-6 years. Would you imagine that even in traditional homes, all the grandfathers and aunties and uncles sit before computers, search for eligible partners for their children. Think of today, it's practical to do that. It has touched everyone, and there is huge money, huge money. Take job market. Today, anybody who wants to do a job search does not go to employment exchange. I don't know how many in the present generation may know that something called employment exchange exists. Who goes there and registers? None. But everybody is into, right? Think of real estate. So many companies who are doing some fantastic business in real estate media. Thanks for it. So what I'm hinting is there is a basic transformation in some areas thanks to IT. The business process has changed. What has changed? The way business is done has changed. Thanks to technology. That is what is called business process re-engineering. You are changing the way business is done thanks to technology. That is one of the implications, pressure, which the companies have to face today. Interestingly, this is also one of the pressures. Do you know what type of information is generated every day? Too much. To make a decision, for a business to make a decision, they need to have right kind of information. Today, getting that information and in the right form, in the right place, in the correct form is not easy. Because there is so much information. So how to deal with information overload as a business organization is very difficult to understand. Technology should support it in some way. I am just breezing through because we are going very slow here. Well, let me directly come here. Though there are few other points, I will not cover everything. I am covering only the few interesting things. The societal pressures are many actually. I can go on speaking. This is my favorite topic to begin with. Let me focus on two, though there are many others which we can speak on. One, every business organization has a responsibility to bridge that digital divide. Digital divide is growing at an alarming rate and business has to respond to it in some way. They can't keep quiet. Other is there is a whole set of government regulations which are coming out, to which every business has to respond. This is not so in India. Indian businessmen are lucky in that way. For example, privacy. It's a very huge issue. In fact, yesterday or day before yesterday was World Privacy Day. Protecting your privacy online is one of the very complex issues. Well, the other day we were speaking about the UID project and its implications. One of the forums of this project will be that you will not remain anonymous in the society anymore. Even if you go to a restaurant with your friend and make the payment using the credit card, that information can be stored, linked, and that information will be alive for infinite amount of time, which earlier was not the case. So how will it affect the lives and the behavior of the people will be interesting to see. Second, in a global level, after 9/11 attacks, there has been a conscious attempt by the governments to enforce more strict regulations in the name of security. That has taken various shapes in various countries. Societal responses for this kind of threat, for example in France, is to impose a ban on burqa and other things. In countries like US, privacy has been invaded every now and then in the name of security. Or for example, like what we are seeing from past 1 week, there has been a hot debate and the entire open source and free software world is in a kind of turmoil because at least I am very interested in that because SourceForge happens to be my research area. I have researched on SourceForge for more than about 2-3 years. SourceForge being the single largest repository of open source project has denied the access to the people of some 12-13 countries because they are under a particular ban list from the US administration. We, the open source developers, we spend our time and energy in building open source because we want everyone to access. Now, for example, people from Iran cannot access SourceForge, cannot access Wikipedia. They are blocked. Because US government says that they are under a certain suspicion list, so let us not export anything there. Wikipedia, SourceForge kind of website exports information. So they also come under such category and they are forced to ban. Earlier it was very simple, but today government has told very clearly to these companies to automatically ban the request from these countries to automatic blocking. So now people from Iran can't access Wikipedia, can't access SourceForge, can't access any open source projects. Google has been forced to shut down from China. Soon they will be asked to go out of 12 such countries including Iran. What should the company do? Open source projects have this dilemma.